All right, let's talk about the one matchup that literally stops nations, the rivalry that's so much more than just a game. Of course, I'm talking about India versus Pakistan. And this one, well, this was for all the marbles in the Asia Cup 2025 final. So yeah, let's dive right into this absolutely unforgettable clash in Dubai.
I mean, there's nothing else like it in the sport, is there? When these two teams face off, the pressure, the passion, the sheer weight of history, it's all on a completely different level. Seriously, every single ball feels like its own major event, and every run is either celebrated or mourned by hundreds of millions of people. And look, this wasn't just some group stage match or a semifinal. No, this was for the crown itself, the whole shebang. The winner wasn't just walking away with bragging rights for a year. They were going to be named the undisputed champions of all of Asia. So yeah, the stakes, they couldn't have been any higher. So, the big question is, how did this crazy high-stakes thriller actually play out? Who were the heroes? What were those key turning points? And maybe most intriguingly, why was there a huge controversy after the final ball was even bowled? Okay, let's get into it and break it all down. All right, so first things first, let's set the stage here. For Pakistan, this was a massive opportunity, right? A chance to upset the tournament favorites on the biggest stage possible. But for India, the story was a little different. It was really all about cementing a legacy.
And that legacy was tied to this number, 9. That's what India was chasing, a ninth Asia Cup title. I mean, think about that. Winning this one would just reaffirm their dominance in the entire competition and add another huge chapter to their already incredible history. Okay, so before we really get into the nitty-gritty, the play-by-play, here's the quick summary. India ended up clinching it, a really close 5-wicket victory, chasing down 147 to win in Dubai. But trust me on this one, these numbers, they don't even begin to tell the whole story.
So let's start with Pakistan's innings. How did they end up with that score of 146? Well, their time at the bat was a classic tale of two completely different acts. It was a real story of two halves. One was all about explosive power, and the other, well, it was about a sudden, dramatic collapse. So, Pakistan won the toss, chose to bat, and their openers, man, they came out to swinging. They had incredible intent right from the first ball. They were aggressive, they were finding the boundaries early, and they put India's bowlers under some serious pressure. They built this amazing foundation, and honestly, it looked like they were on track for a massive total. And you can really see the story right here in the numbers. Look at this. You've got Sahibzada Farhan with 57 and Fakhar Zaman with 46. Those two guys absolutely dominated the scoring. But the rest of the batting lineup? Well, that's a completely different story. And that really hinted at the trouble that was just around the corner. It was honestly like a switch just flipped. 1 minute, Pakistan is cruising. They're looking at a score that's got to be well over 180. Then, boom, 1 wicket falls. Then another. And all of a sudden, that super confident batting lineup started to look incredibly fragile. And you could just feel India sensing this huge opportunity to claw their way back into the final. And the main architect of that entire collapse? That would be Kuldeep Yadav. His spell of spin bowling was just brilliant. He completely dismantled Pakistan's middle order. We're talking 4 crucial wickets for just 30 runs. He single-handedly turned the game on its head and managed to restrict Pakistan to a total that felt, gettable. So after all that incredible firepower at the start, this was the final number Pakistan put on the board, 146. The target was officially set. India needed 147 runs to go home with their 9th Asia Cup trophy. All right, on to the second half of the story. Now, chasing 147 in a final, that is never, ever easy. And India's pursuit of that trophy, yeah, it was anything but straightforward. I mean, Pakistan's bowlers came out absolutely breathing fire. The sheer pace of someone like Shaheen Afridi, the clever bowling of Faheem Ashraf. They had India reeling right from the get-go. Key wickets started to tumble, and suddenly, that target of 147, it started to look like a giant mountain to climb. So, with India's top order gone and the crowd getting louder and louder, you could tell Pakistan could almost smell victory. But, right in the middle of that storm, 2 Indian batsmen just refused to panic. They soaked up all that pressure and began the slow, careful work of rebuilding the innings piece by piece. And this right here, this was the defining innings of the entire chase.
Tilak Varma played an absolutely masterful knock of 69 not out. And that little asterisk, not out, is so important because it means he stayed there until the very end, anchoring the whole thing and guiding his team toward the finish line with just incredible composure. But hey, Varma wasn't doing it all alone. His steady hand was perfectly complemented by Shivam Dube, who came in and played a much more aggressive game, hitting a super quick 33. And it was that combination, the calm defense and the sharp attack, that really felt like the turning point that put India back in the driver's seat. So, all of this brought us to the final, nail-biting moments of the game, because even with that incredible partnership, believe it or not, this match was still far from over. Yup, it all came down to the final over. The math was tight, the tension in the stadium was something you could probably feel through your TV screen. So the question was simple. Could India hold its nerve and get those last few runs, or was Pakistan about to pull off a last-gasp miracle victory? And the answer came with just 2 balls left in the game. Rinku Singh hit the winning runs. India had done it. They reached 150 and clinched the championship in just about the most thrilling way imaginable. So the celebration on the field, that should have been the final chapter, right? But in a really bizarre twist, the real drama was actually just about to kick off, and it happened during the post-match presentation. So according to the reports coming out of the event, the Indian team actually chose not to accept the Asia Cup trophy from the chairman of the Asian Cricket Council. Now, despite this, the team still celebrated their hard-fought win right there on the field, which, as you can imagine, created a really memorable and pretty controversial end to the whole tournament. Which leaves us with a really fascinating question to think about, doesn't it? On one hand, India secured a historic 9th title with a dramatic last-over win against their biggest rivals. But on the other hand, there's this unprecedented controversy. So what will this final truly be remembered for? The incredible cricket or the drama that kind of overshadowed a celebration? I guess that's something only time will tell.